Pemirsa, kembali dalam Gelar Wicara. Masih bersama kami Profesor Lim Cher. So, how can we motivate teachers to continue upgrading themselves, because this thing keep developing in the future? It never stops. But how to make them continue learning and learning and learning, especially in building this digital technology and ICT for education?
I mean, in the ideal situation, of course, we want the teachers' willingness to learn to come from within, right? That they are intrinsically motivated to learn. That would be the ideal situation. But the problem is this is not an ideal world, right? Which means that we need to provide incentive for teachers to want to constantly learn, want to engage in professional learning. If you take a look at the Philippines have just came out with a teacher policy whereby teachers have got to renew their teaching certification every 3 years.
Every 3 years?
Yeah. So if they do not renew their teaching certification, they will not be able to teach in the public school.
Okay.
Which is actually an incentive, because in order to renew their teaching certification, they have got to undergo professional development, right? And they got to undergo X number of hours of professional development each year for 3 years in order to renew their license. So that becomes a motivation. Though that is an extrinsic motivation, because if they don't do it, they can't teach, right? But at least they are extrinsically motivated to want to learn. And hopefully from extrinsic motivation, it becomes intrinsic, and they become willing to learn as well, right? So, so what I would say is you need some sort of a policy, right, to really encourage teachers to learn. It might be tied to their promotion, right? It might be tied to a salary increase, or it might be tied to a certification, right? But there must be some sort of a motivation to bring the teachers into professional learning. And it's not that teachers are not willing to learn. Sometimes they are just caught up in the everyday life of a classroom, that they just do not have the time and the headspace to learn.
Okay.
Right? So we need to provide those incentives.
Okay. So what is your expectation for teachers and the educational stakeholder in welcoming this Education 4.0?
I mean, in terms of the teachers, it's all about teachers' capacity to deliver quality education, quality teaching and learning within a classroom, right? And I think each country, each group have got to be very clear about what is that set of competencies that teachers need to be able to be effective in the classroom. What is important in terms of competencies in Indonesia may be very different from Singapore, which may be very different from China, that will be very different from UK and Australia. So, but I think at the national level, at the provincial level, kabupaten level, there must be clear expectations of what are the competencies teachers need to build in order to be effective in the classroom.
Do you have any message for the teachers or the educators in Indonesia in order to improve themselves?
I think the key message is just like what the SDG 4 is about, access to quality education and lifelong learning for all. The key message is we as educators, you might be a teacher, you might be a principal, you might be a policy maker, minister of education. It's all about lifelong learning, right? It's all about the ability to learn for life, right? So that is my key message. Thank you.
Pemirsa, demikian perjumpaan kita kali ini. Saya Nyuma Widya Anggreni dengan seluruh kru yang bertugas mohon undur diri. Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming.